First up, Agent Bishop. This guy's got layers like an onion or a really deep pizza. I'd say he's a solid B. He's got that mix of being a threat and an ally, which makes him super interesting.
Agreed, Mikey. Bishop's complexity and his grey moral compass add depth to our encounters. Definitely deserves that B for keeping us on our toes and contributing significantly to the storyline.
Now, on to El Bateau. Honestly, guys, he's an F. I mean, a villainous teddy bear. Not much depth there.
That for sure. Alberto's more of a punchline than a punch. The cheap parody of F and AF.
Oh man, Albedo. Every time he shows up, I'm not sure whether to laugh or... Nah, I just laugh. Oh, for funny, but unfortunately, that's about it.
Next, we have Armageddon from Mutants in Manhattan.
Armageddon in Meme has some cool moments, but he feels a bit one-dimensional. AC seems right. Interesting, but not impactful enough to the overall narrative.
He's tough in a fight, but as a character, he's just okay. See if it could be cooler.
And then there's the Armageddon from 2012. That shark's an A in my book. He's got it all strength, smarts, and that personal vendetta vibe that really challenges us.
The 2012 Armageddon brings a lot to the table. He's a formidable opponent who adds tension and excitement to our adventures. A well-deserved day for making a significant splash in our story.
Definitely, the 2012 version of Armageddon is a standout. He's not just a physical threat, a for awesome antagonist.
Gotta admit, fighting him is never boring, and for sure, he's the kind of villain that makes you work for your victories.
Moving on, let's talk about Baron Draxon. He's got ambitions, I'll give him that, but sometimes his execution falls short. I'd place him at a C.
I agree, Leo. His intentions to mutate all of humanity show he's a major threat, but his plans often get thwarted by his own creations. C for the effort and the chaos he brings to the table.
Yeah, Baron Draxon, the wannabe conqueror. He's got the look and the lair, but not quite the villainous impact. C sounds about right.
Now, on to Baxter Stockman from 1987. The guy's a classic, but as a villain, kinda falls into the D category for me. More bumbling than brilliant.
Baxter Stockman from 87 was more of a nuisance than a nemesis. His inventions caused trouble, but they rarely gave us a serious challenge. D for not quite hitting the mark.
Shifting gears to Baxter Stockman from 2003, now that's an S tier villain. His genius is unmatched.
Absolutely, Donnie. The 2003 Baxter Stockman brought a level of intensity and danger that we hadn't seen before. His intellect and adaptations earned him an S.
That version of Stockman was a nightmare, that's for sure.
But then there's the 2012 Baxter Stockman. Kinda back to the D level for me. He tries, but is just not on the same level as his 2003 counterpart.
The 2012 version had potential, but he often ended up being his own worst enemy. D for the disappointment in not seeing him reach that potential. Next up, Bebop from Mutants in Manhattan. He's got that wild card vibe, making him unpredictable. I'd say AC. He brings chaos, but it's manageable chaos.
Yeah, Bebop in Name had moments where he shined with his tech, but overall, he doesn't quite hit the higher marks. C for his contributions and style.
He's tough in a brawl, but not the brightest bulb in the box. C seems fair for the trouble he stirs up without really tipping the scales.
On to Bebop from 2012. Sorry, dude, but I gotta drop an F on this one. He tries so hard.
The 2012 Bebop. F for falling flat on the villain scale.
His gadgets are kinda cool, but they never really make up for his lack of everything else. F for effort, though.
Bebop from 1987. Now that's a trip down memory lane. He's more of a clown than a serious threat. D for making us laugh more than making us worry.
He's like that villain you can't help but kinda like because he's so out there. D for the entertainment value, at least.
Talking about Big Mama, she's quite the character. Runs the Hidden City Fight Club and all. But as a villain? See, she's got ambitions, but there's a lot of grey area with her.
Dake Momo's intriguing, with her spider yokai powers and all, but she doesn't always make the biggest impact. C for being more of a side player in our adventures.
She's got style, I'll give her that.
And bludgeon well as all the way. The guy is like a walking nightmare in a good way. Well, not for us, but you get what I mean.
S for sure.
Definitely an S tier villain.
He's got the moves, the power, and the attitude. S, no question.
And sharks are always cool, as we saw with our Megan.
Facts.
Let's start with Captain Mozart from 2012. He's definitely a force to be reckoned with, but compared to his 2003 counterpart, I'd say he's a lower B.
Yeah, he's tough. It felt threatening.
Agreed on the B for 2012 Moser.
Moving on to Cassandra Jones. I think she's kinda lacking in the villain department. I'd go with AD. She tries, but doesn't quite hit the mark for me.
D sounds about right for Cassandra.
CHL, now there's a name that brings back memories. I'd give him a B. He's got layers, schemes, and a real presence whenever he shows up.
I might lean towards a higher rating for CHL, actually. His impact and intelligence make him a notable adversary. But I can settle on B, considering everything.
Alright, I can live with B for Shrell. He's definitely got the brains and brawn, making him a memorable villain.
Now, Chrome Dome. This guy is more than just a hunk of metal. His abilities and the way he adapts to our moves make him a solid B.
Yeah, Chrome Dome isn't your average robot. He's got some serious upgrades that challenge us in new ways. Definitely deserves that B, maybe even a bit more praise for his design and tactics.
Why is he so unpopular?
I don't know.
Chrome Dome B, for sure. But he's on the high end of that scale for me.
And Commander Moser from 2003. He's got that leadership vibe that makes him stand out. I'd also give him a B, but he's got a slight edge over his 2012 version.
It's interesting to see how we all somewhat agree, but for different reasons. Commander Mozart from 2003 does indeed earn his B, perhaps for being a more fleshed out character and leader. Let's discuss Cyber Shredder. Personally, I think he falls short of the mark. He's got the name, but not the same level of threat or complexity. I'd lean towards a D.
I don't know, Leo. I mean, sir, he's not the original Shredder, but D, alright, maybe you're right. He does lack that certain intimidation factor.
Cyber Shredder had potential with all the digital and cyber aspects, but it didn't fully translate into a compelling villain. This seems fair, considering the missed opportunities.
And then there's Sinshot from F Guys. Just F, not much more to say there.
Yeah, Ross, I agree.
Moving on to Dark Leo. Now, that's an A from me.
I have to admit, facing Dark Leo was a challenge on multiple levels.
Dark Mikey, though, I'd say he stays C. Just for his weapon.
Dark Mikey's like me without the charm. So, C sounds about right. Mr. Pizza-loving soul in there.
When it comes to Dark Donnie and Dark Raph, I think they both fall into the D category. They show potential, but don't quite reach the depths or challenges that Dark Leo brings.
Yeah, fighting my darker self was a bit of a letdown. Didn't have that edge I was expecting. D for both of us, I guess.
Agreed.
Next up is Dirtbag. This guy,
Yeah,
that's something.
D for Dirtbag.
Dragon Face, now there's AC if I ever saw one. Mostly because he's more of a jerk to us than a real villain.
Agreed on Dragon Face. He might aim to be fearsome, but he ends up being comic relief. C for the laughs.
The Dream Divas, though, get a B from me. They're a clever nod to horror icons like Freddy Krueger, bringing a mix of humor and nightmare into our world.
Definitely, the Dream Divas managed to be both creepy and funny. A solid B for making us actually think twice about going to sleep.
They were scary. And Fish Face, I'd say AC. He's got a cool design and some skills, but he doesn't bring much new to the table.
Agree.
Next one.
The Foot Elite always present a real challenge. Their skills and loyalty to the Shredder make them formidable opponents. Definitely an A from me.
Yeah, those guys are no joke.
Moving on to Foot Brute. Honestly, he's kind of a letdown. Doesn't live up to the Foot name. I'm going with an S.
Honestly, I don't know. The proof, foot brute, more like foot boring. He's got the size but none of the skill or brains. They're easy.
And the foot lieutenant, same story as the brute. An S. He's supposed to be leading, but most times it feels like he's just there.
Totally. The lieutenant's supposed to be all tough and commanding, but he's more bark than bite. F for the disappointment.
Let's tackle the generals. General Aguila, General Serpienti, and General Gato. I think they all land squarely in the D category. They had potential, but ultimately didn't leave a lasting impact.
Yeah, they kind of felt like they were just going through the motions. But General Mono, I'd bump him up to AC, solely because of that massive hammer. Adds a bit of flair to his character.
I concur. The hammer does make Mono stand out a bit more among them, giving him the extra edge to earn a C. As for the others, these seems fitting due to their lackluster presence.
Moving on to Ground Chuck. Like his buddy Dirtbag, he's more comical than threatening. He lands a D, sitting right near Dirtbag in terms of villainy.
Ground Chuck, the name's as silly as his tactics. D for sure. At least he and Dirtbag make a matching set.
I'm from 2003, though. Now there's a villain. His presence alone elevates every scene he's in. As for sure, he's a force to be reckoned with.
Han in 2003 was a beast. He brought real weight and threat to our battles. Total S.
The 2012 version of Hun, however, doesn't quite hit the same mark. He's got moments, but overall, I'd say a C.
Yeah, he tries, but he doesn't bring that same fear factor. C for effort, though.
Hypnopotamus. His name's almost more dangerous than he is. A magician turned villain, but lands AD from me.
Hypnopotamus is like a bad magic trick. You see it coming a mile away, and it still disappoints.
Now, John. Donnie, why did you put him here?
He's still a villain.
John's like that filler episode. D for sure.
Karai from 2012. I might be a bit biased.
Look how Leo blushed at once.
Yeah, Leo's crush aside, she does bring an interesting dynamic to our battles. C for the conflict and connection.
Her journey and complexities are depth.
Whatever you say, Leo.
But Karai from 2003, that's an A. Her storyline, skills, and the way she challenges us in herself really stands out.
Totally. The 2003 Kari was a game changer. For her role and how she made every encounter memorable.
Chloe. I guess he tried. But really, he ends up being more forgettable than fearsome. D for him.
And Koya, she's tough. Has some cool aerial moves, but doesn't quite leave a lasting impact. C for the effort.
Reflecting on Grand Prix, despite the potential for a major threat, it ultimately falls short in terms of execution and impact. An F, because it doesn't quite deliver on its premise.
It's surprising, given Krong Prime's setup as a formidable force. But if we are judging by how well it served its role in the stories, F does seem fitting.
Crime.
Moving on to Krang 1, I'd say a B. This version brings enough trouble and personality to be considered a solid threat and character.
Agreed. Mikey, Krang 1 has that blend of cunning and challenge that makes our encounters with him memorable. A well-deserved B.
Krang 2 and 3 both get a C from me. They contribute to the chaos and have their moments, but they don't stand out much beyond that.
Yeah, C sounds about right for both. They're like the middle infrared villains.
And Krang from 1987, I've got to give him a D. He's iconic, sure, but more for the last than for being a serious villain.
That's fair, Mikey. The 1987 Krang brought a unique flavor to the series, but in terms of being a threat or driving the story, he's lacking. D. Leatherhead's an interesting case. He's had his moments of being both friend and foe, which adds complexity. But overall, as a villain, I'd place him at a C.
Shout out to my bro, Leatherhead.
I respect Leatherhead's strength and the depth of his character, but as a consistent antagonist, he hovers around that C rating. His potential sometimes gets overshadowed by his inner conflicts.
Yeah, Leatherhead's tough, but he's more like a frenemy. See for the times he's tried to chomp us, I guess.
Moving on to Lord Drake from 1987, I'm thinking an upper S. He tried to fill some big shoes as a villain, but mostly he just tripped over them.
Lord Drake from 1987 had ambition, but not much else. Upper F sounds right. He lacked the depth and impact we've seen in other villains.
And for the 2012 version of Lord Drake, a lower F. His return was meant to be a big deal, but it fell flat. The threat he posed felt less significant compared to other adversaries we faced.
Both versions of Drake just didn't do it for me, and that for sure. Talk about not living up to the villain hype.
Meat Sweat says AD from me. The guy's got a unique angle, but as a villain, he's more bizarre and threatening.
Meat Sweat has his moments, but overall, he doesn't quite make the cut above AD. His culinary ambitions don't exactly spell doom for us.
As for Mutagen Man, he's at the lowest C. There's a real tragedy to his character, and he poses a unique challenge when we face him.
Poor Timothy.
Mutagen Man's got that sympathy factor, but as a villain, he's kinda messy.
Nano's a C for me. He's not just a villain, there's a complexity to him, especially considering his origins and development. He challenges us in unique ways, not always through sheer strength.
Agreed. Leo. Nano brings an interesting blend of technology and emotion to our battles. A solid C, considering his potential for both harm and growth.
Neutralizer, though, I'd put at AD. He's got all the makings of a tough villain, but doesn't quite leave a lasting impact. More flash than substance.
Yeah, Neutralizer's like that action movie you thought would be super cool, but ended up being just okay. D for the disappointment.
The classic Ninja Foot Clan earns a B from me. They're iconic adversaries who define what it means to be a Ninja Turtle. Consistently challenging and always relevant to the story.
They've been our constant rivals, pushing us to be better ninjas. B for their role in shaping us and the battles we face together.
Okay, now that's in a tier villain. Comparable to Bludgeon in terms of challenge and skill. He brings a depth and intensity to our confrontations.
Totally, Raph. Ocho is like a major boss. For sure.
Oroku Saki is a fundamental part of our story, embodying the essence of our rivalry. His tactics and leadership make him a formidable opponent.
He is a legend.
It's in my heart.
Saki's strategies and personal vendetta against us add layers to our conflict. D for the depth he brings to the narrative.
Over mine. On the other hand, there's another evil AI story that doesn't quite deliver. It's like, we get it, technology bad, but what else is new?
Yeah, Overmind's like that virus your computer gets and it's annoying, but then you just reboot and it's gone. And for not being the upgrade we were worried about.
Moving quickly, Pizza Face, he's a C, quirky, but not much of a threat beyond making us hungry.
Ressar, especially Chris Bradford's version, is an F. Quickly lost his edge.
Rat King in 2012, definitely an A. His psychological warfare and control over rats make him truly scary.
Rat King from 87 is more of a C. Creepy but doesn't quite hit the same level of menace as his 2012 counterpart.
The 2003 Rat King, I'd say A, B, strikes a balance between creepy and cunning, making him a notable challenge.
And Repo Mantis, that's an FF, twice the F.
Alright, team, let's keep this momentum going. For Rocksteady from Mutants in Manhattan is a C. A consistent challenge, but nothing we can't handle with a good plan.
The 1987 Rocksteady got 11, a D.
And Rocksteady, from 2012, he's back at C. A bit more competent than his 87 version, but still not top-tier villain material.
Savadi Romero in 2012, I'd say he's a tried to be a big-time villain, but mostly just ended up being a big-time headache.
Agreed, Raphael. And the 2003 version of Savanti Romero also lands at a D. Interesting concept, but execution falls short.
Schwarzenegger, with all his alien invasion plans, still just a D. He's like a bad sci-fi movie villain that tries hard but doesn't quite scare anyone.
It's interesting to see how some villains try to up their game over the years, while others remain stuck in their ways, not really evolving past a certain point.
Yeah, no matter the version. Some of these guys just can't seem to break out of the D-list villain club.
The Shredder from Rise of the TMNT, definitely an S. He's a formidable force, constantly pushing us to our limits with his dark armor and mystic powers.
Yeah, Ride Shredder is like the final boss in a video game that takes all your skills to beat. Totally an S.
The 1987 Shredder, though, he's at the top end of D for me. He had his menacing moments, but often ended up more comical than threatening.
Gotta admit, the 87 Shredder had charm, but as a villain, he was more likely to tie himself up than us. Top D, for sure.
Moving to the 2012 Shredder, he's an S, ruthless, strategic, and a personal nemesis that tested everything we are. His presence always meant a serious challenge.
That Shredder was no joke. Sheer depth and his battles with us were epic. S all the way.
Like, he literally killed Splinter.
And almost killed us the first time we met. He kept us in suspense the whole show. The Shredder clones, on the other hand, fall flat with an F. They lack the original's intensity and depth, making them forgettable.
Clones are a cheap knockoff of the real deal, F, because they're just not up to scratch.
And the Shredder from Mutants in Manhattan is a solid C presents a challenge, but doesn't quite reach the heights of his other versions.
He's got the look and some moves, but you're right, Leo. He's more middle of the road as far as villains go. C for the effort.
Slash, he's got strength and the raw power, but as a villain, he's more one-dimensional. D for not fully utilizing his potential against us.
Yeah,
Snakeweed F, all agree.
yeah.
Agree?
Agree.
Spider-Bite is, I'd lean towards a D, but he's so close to an F. His motivation and impact are limited, making him less memorable as a villain.
Mostly F for Spider-Biters, huh? He's got the creepy factor, but not much else. D, but barely.
Spy Roach gets a C from me. It's an interesting concept, and the surveillance aspect did add a unique challenge for us.
Yeah, Spy Roach was annoyingly effective at times. C for making us keep an eye out for bugs.
You're the only one who's afraid of bugs, Raph.
Shut up, Mikey.
Superfly, though, that's our first A.
Superfly's
All different levels.
like the boss level in villain form. Totally deserves that A for making us up our game.
But he doesn't make it to S because of the ending. Tengu Shredder, he's a C, has moments of being a noteworthy adversary, but doesn't consistently deliver the threat or complexity of his namesake.
Tenyu Shredder's got the name, but not the game. C for effort, but he could have been so much more.
And Tiger Claw, he's definitely an A. A formidable opponent with a strong code of honor, making every encounter with him intense and unpredictable.
Tiger Claw's not just a villain. He's a warrior, officer, for the respect he commands and the challenge he presents.
Tucker C category.
Yeah, Tucker's like a wrecking ball. Fun to dodge, but not much for conversation. I saw it C.
Triple threat, despite the potential from combining 3 villains into one, also ends up in the C category. They have moments of intrigue, but don't fully capitalize on their combined abilities.
Triple threat's got the numbers, but not the coordination. Ends up being a C.
Moving on to Draco. He's a D, but slightly ahead of Spider-Biters. He has a bit more impact on our world, but still lacks the depth of more formidable villains.
Draco's got that trying too hard to be bad vibe. D for effort, but is not hitting the mark.
Now, Wingnut, that's an interesting case. He's definitely at the top of the A-list for us. His abilities and the unique challenges he presents make every encounter memorable.
Wingnut, how? Flying into a territory like he owns it. Gotta admit, battling him is always intense. He's got that mix of power and unpredictability that keeps us on our toes.
Wingnut truly stands out as a villain who pushes us beyond our limits. His strategic mind combined with his physical prowess makes him a worthy adversary. An A for the respect and challenge he brings to the fight.
And flying in with style, too. Wingnut's like the action movie villain who you can't help but enjoy facing off against. Definitely earns that A.
Lastly, the Zanmaran Emperor. Despite his title and position, he ends up being a D. His schemes and threats feel more like missed opportunities than real dangers to us or the city.
Zanmaran Emperor, more like Zanmaran, try harder. D for not living up to the hype of his name. Well, that wraps up our villain rating session. It's It's been quite the journey through our rogues gallery, hasn't it?
Totally, Leo. Some highs, some lows, and a lot of pizza breaks in between. Can't wait to see what our fans think about our tier list.
It's been insightful, looking back on all the challenges we faced. It helps us appreciate the growth we've experienced as a team.
Thanks to everyone who tuned in to Shell Shocked Stories. Your support means the world to us. Stay safe, keep training, and remember, the spirit of a ninja is within all of us.
Don't forget to grab a slice of pizza and celebrate the small victories. Until next time, folks.
And never back down from a fight, especially if it's for the right cause. Stay tough, stay strong.
Until we meet again, may the way of the ninja guide you.